Do you want to decrease your stress level? How about improve your cardiovascular function? Maybe it's just reducing the headaches that you experience or the fatigue that you get throughout the course of the day. Well, tonight's workshop is going to be a little bit different. In fact, this conversation is going to be all about how you fill up your tank. And we're going to talk about the gas drill tonight. Now, I love this because we get to settle into something that most people just simply don't even think about. They don't think about how gratitude is capable of affecting every part of our existence. Oftentimes when we say gratitude drills, the very first thing that comes to mind is our mental state. But let's not forget, this affects us on a physical level. And that is so very important. You know, we here at Limerick Chiropractic Center, yes, we are desiring to make sure that you restore and you build up this physical body of yours. But you know what? If we think we're capable of doing that without attaching and influencing the mental state, we have sorely missed some very key things that help you improve as quickly as possible, help you and maintain as long as possible. There's so much research that's already out there on the benefits of you expressing gratitude. In fact, if you search up mind over matter and look at individuals like Hans Salier, look at those original researchers that talked about the power of the mind, we come to recognize the fact that, you know, this has been around for a really long time. And in today's day and age, yes, we have more resources. We get to look at all the different ways of how our body and our mind are improved by expressing gratitude, that positive influence on our lives, focusing on the very positive things. But you know what? The research is already there. We don't have to go back in time and recreate that research. We don't have to go through that labor. What we really need to do is to put action into this conversation. And that's our desire for you. My hope is that, listen, you gain a little bit of an understanding of how simple this is. And I'm blessed I've had the opportunity of doing this gas process for many years now. And in turn, I've subjected myself, I am held accountable by other doctors. I share this information in group. Now, maybe that's not where you're going to start. Maybe as you learn more about this process, it's something that you do personally. It's something that you do on a daily basis. And you continue to express that gratitude. And eventually you desire for other people to come along in this journey with you. And you invite them in different ways to share in the process. Wherever this takes you, well, that's a you. I know for me, by being held accountable, I am consistent in doing this on a regular basis. In fact, I have the opportunity of also reflecting on what other individuals' gas cards look like. Now, we've talked about this, and very simply, we're talking about, yes, gas. Now, the G is gratitude. You've probably figured that out already. And by having gratitude, it is one of the things that we demonstrate our ability to be grateful for things that we already have in our lives. You know people. You probably know people, you probably work with them, maybe you have family members that the glass is always half full. Now you're going to forgive me, but if the glass is half full, it's also half empty. And we have as many of those individuals in our lives too. We want to gravitate towards the fact that we look towards the positive things, and we surround ourselves by people who also think the same way in that positive manner. Now, a lot of times when we start to learn about this particular gas drill. One of the things is we need to understand that we can be grateful for any number of things. And when you look towards this list, we should have an abundance of things that we list off in the gratitude. Whether we talk about, our families, our friends, our co-workers, those physical things in life that we have, just a vehicle to be able to get back and forth to work. Maybe it's the roof over our head, food on the table. Maybe it's the gratitude that, somebody had done that random act of kindness for us. Maybe it's the blessings that we've been bestowed upon. Regardless of what it is for you, one of the biggest things is just to recognize you have these things in your life. And maybe you don't share this with anybody else because of how personal it is. Maybe you share this list with others. I love that we can spend an entire day just talking about how we can break down this gratitudes list. Whether it's the 7 categories of life, whether it's the short term or long term, whether it's the tangible or intangible things, we get to express how grateful we are for having those things in our lives. Maybe it's even the things that we no longer have, but the experiences or the people that we've been gifted to be around for whatever that time was. Now, I love that we can create this list and make the gratitudes as long as we desire. And that's exactly what you should be doing. When we talk about this next step, which is the action, we get to talk about how it is that we are going to engage in our day. Now, I love that for many of us, we get to plan out our day this way. Maybe it's the special things that we need to do. But what I am going to encourage you, when you list off things that you're going to do out throughout the course of the day as actions, well, you keep it to the highlight reel. Those really, really important things. Those milestones that that, it's not just showing up at work. It's the things that absolutely need to be accomplished in today. And when you do that, hopefully you're going to limit this list to maybe 3 or 4 different items. Because we want to make sure that we're completing those things and we're getting those things fully off our checklist for the next day. So that we get to start with a clean slate and we get to engage 3 or 4 new things on a daily basis. Now, this last category is our service. This is that special thing that maybe we're going to engage in over the course of a week. Maybe it's something special that, we need to do or we want to do for other people to lift them up. Maybe it's the random act of kindness that you want to just simply find somebody in your community, maybe while you're out at the grocery store, maybe it's when you're at Wawa, that you're able to buy a cup of coffee for. Maybe it's a charitable donation that you personally have decided upon that you want to engage here and now. Maybe it's just picking up the phone and calling that friend, that neighbor, that family member that you haven't talked to in a really long time. Just reaching out and saying hello. Regardless of what it is, regardless of whether it takes a day, a week in order to accomplish it, there should only be a single item under that services list. Because we realize that's a really big thing. And many of us have to really focus and really, really work on this in order to see that we get to take the gratitude that we have for the things that we've been given and the joy in the actions that we get to perform on a daily and weekly basis. And we get to give away a little bit of ourselves to somebody else. See, in the moment of walking through this process, it becomes a very circular process. We realize how blessed we are. We realize that we have responsibility to ourselves, to our family, to our community, of things that need to be done. And we also like to give back into the community, whatever your community happens to be. Because we recognize, as blessed as we are, there's others out there that don't have as much as we do, that aren't blessed in the same way. And in turn, we get the opportunity of helping lift up our fellow man. And I don't know how far-reaching that's going to be in somebody else's life. But what I do recognize is that everyone needs a helping hand every once in a while. I'd like to hear what you take away from this. Love to hear how this applies for you. Maybe it's something that you want to share with others. The fact that just being grateful was your takeaway. Or maybe it was being grateful for them. That was your takeaway from tonight. As always, I always ask you to like this video, share it with others, but I would love to hear your comments on what you're grateful for. What's your takeaway? I'm Dr. Joseph Baker from the Limerick Chiropractic Center.